Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Financial Independence Project. So, this is episode 4. Last episode I thought was phenomenal. We talked about the BS budget, bullshit budget, where you have to take care of your bills and surviving. And then with the remainder, we talk about what you can do with that. If you don't have anything left over, how to get to that point. So very impactful episode. We also talked about Parkinson's syndrome, which we actually will touch a little bit on today. So it was really, really insightful. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and check it out. I'll put a link in the description to the last episode. But today, we are going to talk about the mindset of saving money and how to save money effectively. Okay, so before we even get into the episode, I need to remind you all, this podcast is strictly for educational purposes only. Do your own research. This is more of a storytelling podcast of my personal experiences, the thousands of people that I've either spoken to, worked with, helped, and just my various industries that I've been in within the financial space. But I am not a financial advisor. I did not get that certification. I have many other certifications, but that one is not one. So please do your own research. If there's anything that sparks your interest, that's what this is for. It's for exposure. It's for stories that I've seen other people go through and how they, how their life has turned out. I've seen some on the good end. I've seen some on the bad end. I've seen some people just fell short of their goals. So just keep that in mind. However, how to save money effectively. So obviously, I said this in the very end of the last episode, you need to pay yourself first. This is crucial. I mean, typically, most people right now are, not only paycheck to paycheck, but they're getting paid every 2 weeks or sometimes twice a month for working 80 hours. That is a long time to be working. That's a lot of your lifeblood working for you not to have anything for yourself at the end. So like I said, even if you give yourself $25, $50, whatever it is, pay yourself first. Everybody else comes after. You will begin to believe that you deserve that $25. Ooh, 1 month or 2 months, I got 100? Okay, how can I get that 3 figures to 4? You know what I'm saying? So you will begin to believe you deserve it. So that's number one. But I don't want to just tell you certain things. I want to give you, like I said, some experiences, some stories. So my first real exposure to someone saving money effectively he was a lead or manager, assistant manager, whatever you want to call it, at my first sales job. When I was knocking door to door. I was selling roofing, window siding, gutters, doors, so like full exterior. Not much older than me, maybe a year or 2. 3 max. He's not much older than me. But, he was killing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, he had the red shirt. Everybody else had the blue shirt. And he was great at what he did. Very efficient. He would knock on the least amount of doors in the company, but always like top 5 in sales company-wide. So he was a dog. Ken was a dog. But, there's this one story in particular that I remember about him in regards to saving money. He had his own car, and I tell you, I was thinking about how to word this. Ken, if you're watching, do not get mad, but he had a rundown car. That thing was raggedy. It was raggedy. And I remember, some of us in the office would just like bust on him, like, bro, like, what's wrong with you? Why don't you get rid of that thing? Like, get something nicer. And he was so comfortable with himself. He was so comfortable with who he was and what he had a vision for. His vision was so clear. And he said something along the lines like, no. Why would I get a new car? No. I'm saving my money and I like watching it grow. Something very similar to those lines, right? And at the time, I'm like, man, whatever, bro. Like, couldn't be me. But the older I get, the more profound I begin to see that is, like, I know how much money I was making. That was the first time I made $1,000 in a day. Blew my mind. So I can only imagine what he was doing. Like, that's another problem for a lot of us. Pocket watching. Stop pocket watching other people. I didn't really think of it as that, but I'm like, man, if I was making your money, 70K, 23, 24 years old, I could be doing X, Y, Z. You know what I'm saying? So, but the older I get, the more profound I really feel that to be, and how much further advanced he was than I was, especially at 23. I'm 30, and I'm really starting to understand the importance of saving money. Like I got it for a couple years, but like really every day, every check, every time that I put my energy into something and I can't get that back, I feel like I deserve to keep some of it because I put my lifeblood into that. Time is the one thing we can't get back. Money you can always make. So like, I worked for you for 80 hours these last 2 weeks. I want to make sure I have something for it, to show for it. So, it's crazy. So go back to the story. Fast forward, I don't know, 6 months, 8 months, maybe a year since we were roasting him that one time. We all noticed he pulled up in something nice. We said, "Oh, Ken, what's up? Can't believe you got it." What, he was tired of us, dragging you, roasting you. He looked at us. He said, "No, my car literally died on me on the side of the road. That's why I got a new car." So think about this. He had this car. He knew it was on his last leg, and he was going to ride that thing out until it literally could not be fixed. One day, let's say Monday, raggedy. Monday night, breakdown. Tuesday, new car. You know what I'm saying? Like Ken put himself in a position to where, he was immediately able to, take care of what he needed to take care of. We didn't have to see him getting rides for a couple of months to get his money together. I didn't have to see him, taking Uber, because he was already ready for that rainy day. Man. And when I asked him, I'm like, "Yo, bro, how did you do this?" He said the same thing he said 6 to 8 months ago. I saved my money. I paid myself first. Man, I really hope you guys see how important that is, because I have another story, which is honestly almost the polar opposite of Ken. So there was a guy, completely different mindset. He always been a hard worker, great at his job, pretty good earner. And, he had a car that his parents gave to him. And when that car broke down, I forgot what it was. It was something that he told me, but basically the repair was more expensive than the actual car itself. So he gave that car up. And yeah, he was getting rides, asking for favors. "Hey, can you drop me off here?" He's asking family members, girlfriends, taking the bus, Ubers. And mind you, nothing is wrong with that, especially if that's a part of your plan. But when it's your only option, that's not freedom. So nevertheless, he ends up, going to getting a new job. He was killing it. He made $100,000 in his second year at the job. And what is the first thing that this man does? He ends up getting a convertible, powder baby blue Mustang. Gorgeous, mind you. I tell you, that looked nice. And when I talked to him about it and we reflected on it, he ended up telling me, he said it was more so an ego thing than anything else. He was so tired of getting those rides. He was so tired of asking people for help, especially when he felt like, I'm coming into money. This is the first real money that he's making. And he had to show the world, I'm not the same guy. So it was just so interesting to see, his perspective as opposed to Ken's. Because if he had Ken's mindset, he would have been like, you know what, whatever, I'm gonna get me something raggedy until it dies, save my bread, I don't have to be dependent on anybody. He said, nope. And when we had this conversation, he technically could afford it, but he didn't realize how much money he was spending. So he was spending over $700 a month in the auto loan and the insurance. $700, which honestly, about 8 years ago, that was a lot of money. Nowadays, it's crazy how things can change. That's kind of affordable, which is insane to me, but that was a lot of money, especially for anything that's not your house or your dwelling, where you're living. That's a lot of money. And then he had a conversation with somebody else, and they broke down how much he's going out and having fun right? And in 3 months, between the two things, he spent over $10,000. Okay, so 700 times 3 months, 2,100, and he spent over $8,000 in recreational activities. Let's just leave it there. And that $10,000 went into no assets. It went into no savings. Imagine if he tapped in or had the knowledge that I'm providing to get a life insurance policy, or if he put it in the stock market. You know, $10,000 in 3 months is insane. You can make life shifting decisions when you're in that position. But he didn't. And I still think about that to this day. That other person was me. You know, that's why I really want to talk to everybody about Parkinson's syndrome. You know, I've made, like I said, I don't know, 40,000 when I was working door to door. Went from door to door to mortgages. Made like 65 my first year. Made over 100,000 in like 9-10 months. And I was balling, man. Like, it felt good because to me, it's so wild. So to me, it was the first time where I had extra money left over month to month. So I was like, all my bills paid, and I still got 3-ish thousand, 4,000 or 5,000 left. Like, it was just a weird position to be in. And I was a victim of that Parkinson's syndrome. So if you make more money and you don't have a plan for that money, it will find a place to go to. First thing I did, car. At the time I was a heavy smoker, weed. Those are the two things I spent $10,000. You know how hard it was to get back to that point and how difficult it is to maintain $100,000 if you don't have that same job, that same opportunity, more responsibility, you know? And man, I just found a way to spend it. And not that I didn't do only wrong, you know? Like, I turned 500 into 23,000 in the market. You know, I did things, but I really think about if I turned 5 into 23, imagine if I put 10,000 in, I would have been a millionaire. My life would be different. My life would be different. It was from certain investments, you know. And again, this is just my story. Please don't just go out and buy this. But Dogecoin was one of the things that really went bananas. PayPal went bananas. Definitely had a hard correction, hasn't gotten back to where it was. There's this company, man, the market blessed me with just a little bit of money that I put in, man. Like, I still think, which is why I love the market so much, by the way, guys. But Parkinson's syndrome is real. If you make more money, you don't have a plan for it, it will find a way to leave. So that's why I make sure when I'm in that position again, I'm taking advantage of it. I'm being a good steward of my money. You know, this goes back to, there was a story in the Bible, I believe, where it was saying God gave people that, you know, certain amounts of money, and, you know, the guy who he gave, and I'm definitely paraphrasing, but he gave, let's just say, somebody 10 years worth of salary. He multiplied it, gave him back some. Somebody else, 5 years of salary, multiplied it, gave him back some. They both came back with more. And the person that he gave the least amount to, he just buried it. He didn't do anything, didn't invest it, didn't flip it. And God looked at him like, you weren't a good steward of what I gave to you, which is why I didn't give you more. Which is why I didn't give you more. So I'm trying to make sure that I'm in a position that I am a good steward. I'm trying to make sure that I'm in a position where he does bless me again, that 100,000 in 10 months will be 250,000 in 10 months. You know, so Parkinson's syndrome, I just want to let you guys know, is super real. I went through it. But nevertheless, you know, I really sat back and reflected on this. So what if I lived more modestly and cut 2 of those expenses in half, right? I didn't go out and smoke every day, and I didn't take the bus. And I took the bus, you know, instead of getting this Mustang, or I got, I don't know, used Honda Civic, and I could have saved $5,000 instead of, you know, the 10,000. Again, it could have been life-changing. Could have been life changing. Instead of, that's easy math. I put 500 into something, went to 24,000. If I put 5,000 into it, it would be 200,000. It's $250,000 just based off of my decisions that I made. Insane. So, this is why I really want to stress the importance of paying yourself first. I don't care if it's $25 a check. I don't care if it's a budget. You have to make space for it. Doesn't it feel criminal to work 80 hours a month and for you to have nothing to show for yourself? You'll start to feel amazing for having the 3 figures to 4 figures to now you can plan to, take trips or do investments or buy your house. And remember, if you didn't listen to my other episodes, just go back on budgeting. And I'm going to leave you guys with this. There was a study done in a book, and it read, it's talking about the benefits of the quality of life when people increase their income as opposed to saving their money they're already making. And it was found that people's quality of life significantly increases by keeping the money that they're currently making as opposed to trying to stress themselves and earn more. The study was talking more so about like tax liability, but the same message applies. Save what you have and see the better life you will live. This is episode 4, importance, mindset of saving your money. Love you all. See you in 2 weeks. Peace.